What's up, everyone? One-sided beef, two-sided beef, sheer stupidity, and a power of veto competition. It's safe to say the Big Brother live feeds are back, and we have got so much to talk about, so welcome to your live feed update. Right before we get started, if you are new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. This day marks the first day of live feed updates every single day of summer on TV Talks with Tom. I will bring you all the news from inside the house, from alliances to strategy to all the drama, and let me tell you folks, there's drama. So, hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button. That one really helps me out, and I'm going to hammer that one home. It only takes a second just to click that little thing. So, hit the like button. Really helps me out as a smaller content creator to push my videos out into the YouTube algorithm. But guys, like I teased for the drama, there's drama, okay? So, let's get to the update. Folks, we are back. Here we go for the first live feed update of the season. And even though we only got the feeds for a few hours last night before those folks went to bed, it's a juicy one. We got a lot to talk about. It's a big fat burger with a nice bit of lettuce, nice bit of tomato, and a nice juicy bit of meat in the middle. That sounded a little bit weird, but there is a big hunk of meat that we are going to talk about. But first of all, let's kick things off with who won the power of veto. I'll remind everybody that Vince is the head of household, and he decided to nominate for eviction Ashley, Amy, and Zay. The winner of the power of veto, and most likely going to pull themselves off the block, it is a nominee. It's Ashley. A massive congratulations to Ashley for winning the first power of veto of the season. Now, while I'm recording this, the house guests are still asleep, but it's very likely that the veto ceremony is going to be happening today on Monday, and Ashley will pull herself off the block. Well done her, because let's be honest, from that episode, from the second episode, from Showergate, it seemed like she needed a life vest. Just like Rachel said, floaters grab a life vest. Ashley wasn't a floater, but she did need a life vest. She, unfortunately, is dogged down with Showergate and some other self-awareness claims, but she got herself some safety for the week in the form of the power of veto. Now, the majority of last night's live feeds were spent in the backyard. House guests were chilling out there. This, of course, is actually night 6 in reality rather than night 1 as it's been presented, I guess, in the live feeds. But wow. Massive group setting, which meant that there wasn't a lot of game talk there. But as the night went on, people peeled off, started going in 2s, in 3s, back into the house, and we're talking about the game, and we finally got some insight into all the crazy stuff that's been going on over the past week. I feel like the Charlie Day meme, if truth be told. You all know that meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Charlie Day's got he's got the pins on the board and the string going from like note to note, and he's like trying to piece everything together. Basically, that was me. That was me. For about 3-4 hours straight. I was just absolutely flabbergasted. But eventually we got there, and we started to get some insight into what was going on in the house and who had beefed with who was working with who. And it seems like Mr. Jimmy is at the centre of the universe in this house, and he is Mr. Beef. He has had run-ins with several house guests, from what it seems like. Probably Vince. Seems like there's some kind of context there just based on conversations. And most certainly Keanu. Keanu and Vince, they are both alphas, I'm going to say. But alphas in a way where it's going to be a detriment to their game. Keanu, I think, is absolutely full of himself. In the same way that I think Jimmy is absolutely full of himself. Jimmy is going to have a nasty downfall in this house. It seems like it's going to be great feeds when you've got people with massive egos. So thank you, Jimmy and Keanu, for that. But Jimmy it seems like somebody who he wants to run an alliance. Sorry, he wants to run the house. He wants to run every alliance, and he wants to run the house. And I don't think he wants to let people get a word in. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I can see why people are already beefing with Jimmy. Keanu did try to sell Jimmy as the renom. That was one of the first renom options I saw. He and Kelley was present in that conversation as well. You know, Kelley, let's put me on the block You know her. Yeah, Kelley and Keanu not fans of Jimmy. So again, they were just the first people to say it on camera within the few hours we got of live feeds last night. So that's a pot on the stove that's gonna boil over and start to go boom. People do not like Jimmy. They do not like Jimmy. So they were trying to pitch to Vince Jimmy as the replacement nom, but Vince was not taking the bait at all. It seems like those two are almost met with resistance, I will say. It seems like those two definitely have some kind of deal. My thinking is it goes back to when Jimmy had to pick 4 house guests to compete in head of household. And I think, the deal was with each of those 4, you win HOH, you keep me safe. And it seems like maybe they're honouring that deal, or they've honoured that deal and then continue to develop their bond to the point where Vince just is not entertaining the idea of putting Jimmy up. But the thing about a character like Jimmy is somebody who's polarizing. It means he's going to have the people who really, really ride for him and the people who can't stand him, which means there will be people taking shots for Jimmy or shots at Jimmy, but then there will be people who will throw themselves in front to save Jimmy. So it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates his game, because right now he is the person whose name is in everyone's mouth the most. So yeah, there's that one. Now, I briefly talked about Ashley winning the power of veto. She needed it. I don't say this with happiness, but she is lacking self-awareness so high. So high. She doesn't even know what season she's on. She literally waltzed out into the yard and asked people, are we on season 25? Ashley needs to learn to read the room a bit. That's what I'm gathering here. It's messy, and I'm so glad she won the veto, because I can't wait to see now. See if she can turn it around. I want to see what she's made of. But what I've seen of what she's made of so far is a massive lack of self-awareness. But I really do want to see her turn it around. And the power of veto is the perfect opportunity to do that, because it puts you in a position of power, and therefore it's a bargaining chip. It's a bargaining chip where you can work to get people on your side, and because it's also a certainty in a game like Big Brother, there's not really many certainties. So when there is certainties, you cling to them. You cling to them for dear life, because everything is like a whirlwind going round. Oh, there's some solace over there to the veto. I'm gonna go have some conversations with Ashley. Use that to your advantage, Ashley, and start to build up those relationships and prove to people that you're thinking about more than just yourself. Because right now, that's the perception of Ashley. She's somebody who said, hey, Vince, I know you're HOH, but can I borrow your shower for 10 minutes? And then stays in there for 2 hours and then just waltzes out like nothing happened. I know it's petty. I know it's silly. But at this point in the game, people are looking for anything to nominate somebody, and somebody who has a lack of self-awareness is a perfect reason to put him on the block. But she's won veto, and I want to see what you can do to dig herself out of the hole. Vince was considering Adriens as a renom, and it seems like a lot of people aren't too high on Adriens. I could have saw that coming from a mile away. Adriens, again, in the pre-season. The initial cast reaction was, okay, I don't mind this guy, but then he started to grate on me a little bit, saying that he is going to be the greatest house guest of all time. It's arrogance beyond belief, and he's not shown any of that yet, any sign of doing that yet. And also, what put the nail in the coffin for me, I don't know if it was just rage bait, but he said he was a super fan, and his favourite seasons were, I believe, 16, 19, 22, and 25. I've covered 2 of those seasons on the live feeds, and I've got to say they were the 2 least enjoyable and least gamey seasons that I have covered on this channel. 22 and 25. The game level was subpar. The feeds were, quite frankly, in both situations, after the pre-jury phase, boring is what I'm gonna say. So I was fascinated by somebody who's calling themselves a mastermind and saying they're going to be the greatest player of all time, when they're like some of the most boring seasons and aren't even fans of, or like they wouldn't say that their favourite seasons are a season in which Dr. Will played, or Danielle Reyes played, or Vanessa played, or somebody like an icon, like Dan Giesling. You know what I mean? 16 is the only one that really passes because Derek did play a magnificent game there. But 19 was messy, but there wasn't really a lot of good gameplay there, and the same really goes for 22 and 25. The game was already won before it started on 22 because there was pre-made alliances where the big compies just got together and took out all the people who were a little bit different and a bit smaller in stature, so that sucked. Cody played a great game. It was a solid game, and to me it wasn't anything groundbreaking, and I covered the preseason there as well, and from what I gather it really seems like Derek and Dan got together and kind of made a microwave ready alliance for Cody to win the game, and I think it was to get Memphis, Cody, Tyler, all that gang together before the game had even started. So yeah, Adrien definitely has rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way, I think, already, and people are not bothered if he does go up as the renorm. Whether he will be the renorm, I do not know, because this is where it gets real stupid. Kelley is once again volunteering herself to go on the block. She sits there completely safe with one of her closest allies, Vincent, and goes, hey, but one course you could do to get no blood on your hands is put me up. And I'm not just talking about in the episode, she also did this on the feeds. It seems like this house has got a case of the lack of self-awareness. Like, it's not just Ashley, it's not just Adrien, Kelley's in on this as well. Keanu's got a little bit of that going on. Jimmy's definitely got all of it. It's going to make for amazing live feeds. That's the truth of this. But wow, self-awareness is a plague in this house, and I love it. Now, inside the house, we see Mickey and Will talking. I love those two, and they are staying out of the line of fire. All these big characters who are completely oblivious to what's going on around them are taking the hits, and it's allowing the other people to make their inroads. Some people aren't taking the opportunity to make the inroads, but some people are, and they're the people I'm looking at for the long game. Mickey and Will. That ain't Mickey and Will. That's mother and father. They are awesome. I love them so much. They are two of my favourites, and I can't wait to see what they do in the game. But Mickey is gaming. She is gaming, and I'm so glad I had her as my preseason favourite. My intuition served right, and I love Mickey. I love her. She was talking to Will. She was throwing the idea of putting together an alliance that floats the two of those, plus Ashley and Adrien, so that could throw them to a life vest there. And then also Catherine or Lauren, I think, was thrown around. It was like maybe Catherine, maybe Lauren. We kind of see how it's going to go. Plus maybe Jimmy. That would literally pick up all the people who've been, apart from Kelley, all the people who've gotten a rep so far for the self-awareness. That would be the messiest alliance in recent Big Brother memory. Is it a good game move? I think if Mickey's intention is to get the big personalities who are going to rub people up the wrong way, the people who are going to take those long showers and not think about other people, or the people who are going to talk over people and like Jimmy and not think about what other people want or have their feelings. People are going to be focused on those bigger personalities over Mickey and Will, and that could help them get further in the game. So on paper, yeah, I guess it works. I guess it sounds great, but we've got to break it down logistically. You think you can keep all these people together, the biggest personalities, without button heads? Now, it's like the Avengers coming together in that first movie, You immediately think they're all going to work together and just, Avengers assemble. But no, they've all got gigantic egos, and they are punching each other and hitting each other and trying to blow each other up. And it's going to be exactly the same, but on a social level, because this is a social game in which only one person can win. Morgan, Zach and Jimmy were sat together at one point, and they were talking, and it seems like they do have some form of an alliance, or at least they're in a group together. Like I said, there's a lot of reading between the lines in these first few nights because we're trying to play catch up of 6 days of context that is not going to be shown to us. And in this conversation, it seems like tensions were starting to rise a little bit because Morgan literally had to step in at one point because Jimmy was going on and on and on and on. Morgan literally said, "Can I just finish? Can I just finish?" This is what I mean about Jimmy. He's rubbing people up the wrong way. He doesn't give people an opportunity to say their piece, and it's all about him. It's all that matters. And he's going to get a rude awakening if he doesn't wake up right now and start to treat people with respect. Not everything revolves around you. You are not the mastermind of this season. There's 17 people there. Okay, you can be the mastermind eventually, but you're doing it the wrong way, buddy. You were doing it the wrong way. If somebody is on night 6 before the first eviction, before the first veto ceremony, has to say, "Can I just finish?" Work on your social game, brother. Because if you're not doing that, you're going to be out the door before the pre-jury. Not before the pre-jury, before the jury. That doesn't make sense. If it's before the pre-jury, then it'd be gone already. But you get what I mean. Jimmy, zip it, buddy, and let other people talk, or otherwise you're going to be gonzo. Now, I caught Ashley at one point in the night saying that Zay is so stupid. That's an interesting one. She, though, I feel like needs to now find the time to sink somebody. And if that person is Zay, go for it. Seriously, go for it, go for it, go for it. She has the opportunity now, because she has that veto in her hand, to change her game around. So if she's going to try and sink Zay, go for it, girl. Seriously, go for it. Because if it takes the target off her back and puts focus on Zay, yeah. Of course, one statement isn't going to do that, but if she can start going around the house, stirring the pot a bit, you know. Zay said this, Zay said that, Zay's stupid, you know, whatever you want to say. It's going to work in her favour because the attention's going to go off her. It might backfire, but Zay is loud. Oh, Zay, there's a few guys this season where it feels like the lights are on but no one's home. Knock knock, hello, anyone there? No logic. Just blank stares into the distance. Zay has got a bit of that going on. Keanu has got a bit of that going on. Dare I say Zach as well? Not as much to the extent of Keanu and Zay, but tiny little bit. But I'm telling y'all, if the women wanted to, they could run circles around these fellas. If they wanted to, they could come together and run circles around him. Something I want to pick up on is the fact that we have gotten quite deep into this live feed update now, and Rachel Riley hasn't even been brought up. Wow. Nobody's talking about her. Nobody's targeting her. All these personalities are going at it, and Rachel's just sat there dipping her feet in the pool in the backyard, making good social connections with everyone. Love her or hate her, this is the perfect situation for Rachel. She is not having to do much because these big personalities are going at it and they're going to take each other down. If this was 10 years ago, Rachel would have been one of those big personalities, but she's older now, she's more mature, and we're seeing a different Rachel approach the game. That's not to say that feisty Rachel isn't going to come out and her and Jimmy are going to have a screaming match on week 3, because that is very, very possible. This is Rachel Riley at the end of the day. But as of right now, Jimmy's got beef with other people. Keanu's got beef with other people. Vince has got beef with other people. Ashley's got beef with other people. Kelley's got beef with other people. And that's just to say the people who've got like major beef. I'm not talking about minor beef. Do you know who's beef less? Rachel Riley. His name is Regina Jimmy. He is being tagged as a mean girl already. There has been discussion of the fact that Morgan, Zach, and Jimmy give Mean Girls. Who's seen Mean Girls? Who hasn't seen Mean Girls? Jimmy, of course, with the reputation of Regina George. She is the HBIC, the head biatch in charge. She is Regina George, and Jimmy is getting that reputation. And it's crazy. I feel like I'm just watching someone's game melting. He's not even on the block, and he's not HOH. He just needs to lay low, but he's making more enemies than everybody there. It totally makes sense for Vince to put Jimmy up, but he's not going to do it because he's got an alliance with him. The house doesn't know that, but we can see it clearly. Because as soon as somebody pitches Jimmy to Vince, Vince is like, I don't know about that. No, let's just move on. It's see-through. Vince isn't playing this HOH very well either, I will say that. He definitely got emotional at one point. He had a little bit of a cry fest, but I think that's a given. Quite often in these reality shows, whether it's Survivor or Big Brother, people have that moment within the first week where they go, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore, and they miss home. They miss home and start to cry. And I think Vince has had that moment. And there's people online are already trying to say it's Frenchie levels of HOH-itis. It's not. People like to fabricate things, but it's not. It's an emotional HOH, but not where the emotions are completely dictating where everything's going. Vince is relatively playing safe, in my opinion. That's the word I would use. Putting Ashley and Amy on the block was the safe play, in my opinion. But I also think week one is the safe play. But I'm always an advocate where if you have the power and you can take out a big dog in the first few weeks, do it. Do it before it's too late. Just like Palpatine said, do it. Do it. Now, going into the veto ceremony, it's very, very likely that Ashley is going to use the power of veto on herself and save herself and give herself a little bit of redemption for the shower. I've seen a lot of people defending Ashley, and it's fair, you can defend your favourites, but it feels a little bit like people are forgetting that she took a 2-hour shower. Everyone's going, she's getting nominated over a shower. No, she's not. She was cutting in line of people. She was cutting in line of people in the line of the HOH room to Vince. Not just once, but repeatedly going in saying, I'm tired, talk to me. And the 2-hour shower. Why are people forgetting that? Somebody extends their shower to you for 10 minutes and say, I'm only going to be 10 minutes. And then you take, let me think, how many? 12 times the length of that. Of course she landed herself on the block. It totally makes sense. But she's got the opportunity now to turn it around. She's probably going to use the veto on herself. In terms of the replacement nominee, we definitely have seen frenzies on Monday mornings where the vote changes. But right now, my bet would be Kelley or Adriens. I think Vince would be a dumbass to put Kelley up because he's got a really close ally there who is going to stick by his side. Putting Kelley up, I would just be like, geez, Vince. Shakes head. But I'm glad these bigger personalities who are, causing havoc and making people annoyed are staying. That's what I'm excited about. And of course, the BB blockbuster still has to happen, and that can rock things up as well. So it's a very exciting week and a very promising start to Big Brother 27, and I am very, very happy with where we are. But that is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. I am so ready to take a big fat nap right now because I am tired. I'm so tired, but I will say it is fantastic to be back, and I'm so happy that the feeds are here and that we're going to be analysing the game for the next 3 months. Big Brother season's here, folks. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I thoroughly hope that you're all staying safe, staying positive, staying healthy out there. Let me know who you would like to see as the replacement nominee in the comment section below. But until then, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.